rolling. All right, guys, Facebook Live followers, we are back again for the Tmam Muscle and Mind podcast. Today I've got a very, very special guest and very hard to get a hold of because these guys are super busy. Pete Johnson from Evolt. We've had him for over 2 years, and I'm telling you, these guys have grown so much that getting Pete is very hard, but you can always get him on the phone and he always serves you. No matter where he is around the world, this guy will pick up the phone and he'll make sure that everything's all right. He'll answer any question, and really the service from Evolt is second to none. Pete, welcome to the Tmam Muscle and Mind podcast. For those that don't know Evolt, for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background and a bit about Evolt.
Cool. Thanks for the introduction, Matt. Probably one of the best ones I've ever had. Eh? Yeah, it's pretty cracking. Hey, look, so my name's Pete. I'm from the Gold Coast. I've been with Evolt now since we've launched the Evolt 360 product. My main role there is installation, training, front-end tech, support, a bit of everything really, to be honest, for the last few years. And Evolt 360 is a product that was born in the minds of the CEO many moons ago, and it come to life a couple of years ago, and it's pretty much a body composition measuring machine that's tracked up to an app, and that app's also growing out. Everything's going digital these days, and that they're becoming a very staple part of any gym fit out these days, which is really, really good too. So that's pretty much where we're at, man.
You know, the reason I gave you that introduction is because 2 years ago, before we got Evolt, we had a machine in body. And I'm telling you now, Pete, from the first phone call that I made to you, and it's funny about the phone call, Belinda, who was head of the challenges at that point, said, look, Mets, we really need to get a machine. I said, well, man, who's out there? She goes, in body, but there's another company called Evolt. I said, well, mate, Bill, get me the number, because I want to give these guys a call. And I never forget, from the first conversation I had with you, I just felt this sincerity, this purity about you and the brand and what it meant. And not only that, what I didn't even know was when you asked me which school I went to, I said James Cook. You said, mate, our CEO Ed goes there.
Yeah,
he knows you.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you know what, this is why this feels good. This feels good because everything you said to me, you delivered on.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how much Evolt has helped our business by creating these Titan Fitness 40 challenges and transforming lives. It's been one of the biggest changes our business has seen, and it's because of Evolt. But what I've seen though in the last 2 years is how much you guys have evolved.
Yeah.
Tell me the reasoning behind that and why you guys have sort of gone so much further and deeper into it to service people.
Well, our main goal obviously is to help. We want people to understand, education around body composition changes, and one of those big changes obviously is macronutrient profiling and things like this. So these are add-ons. We're a tech company as well. Our growth isn't just at the front end. Our growth is also at the back end, and I'm really, really pleased to hear how much of an effect it's had on your business, Mets. It's exactly what our goal is. It's to help people in every aspect. So we're constantly working on making our product better. We're constantly trying to add things in there for the consumer, for your clients, to get more and more information. Education's everything. So if you can educate somebody on their body to make the correct changes, you're going to get better results. You're going to have happier clients. Your members are going to like it more. They're going to come more often. It just creates an all-round environment. People come in, they get a negative result, and you can reach out to them and talk to them about it, and it turns into a positive result. So that's what we're about, I suppose.
What I loved about the Evolt scanner was I was looking at one of the readings from one of the people in the challenge, and I noticed they lost a lot of weight, but their visceral fat hadn't dropped. Now, if you were to do a caliper test or anything like that, you couldn't see what the visceral fat meant. You're just testing their body fat.
Yeah, subcutaneous.
Subcutaneous. What this does, the visceral fat, even if you lose 11 kilos and your visceral fat doesn't go down, it just means that, okay, you've lost the weight, but have you done your resistance work, or were you just doing classes? Was your diet on point? Were you having enough protein and enough carbs, right? That to me says volumes about the product, because as we know, visceral fat is, obviously if your cortisol's high, your visceral fat's going to be high.
Yeah.
But it's not going to bring your body fat percentage down.
No.
But if your visceral fat's high and your body fat's high and you've lost all that weight, well, you've lost a lot of muscle. Tell us how important that part of the Evolt machine is.
Look, it's being able to break everything down into segments. It is a medical device. They are used all over the world as medical devices. If you treat it like that, then obviously you're going to get the results that you want to see, and you're going to be able to track those results. Look, when it comes to visceral fat and things that are, how much skeletal muscle mass you have, how much water you have in your body, and visceral fat and things like this, when it comes to measuring that, it's just one of those things where mate, there's nothing else that sort of really does it quite like these machines do. So once you get all those ducks in a row, and then you get your nutrition on point and your training, then you'll actually see visceral fat drop, you'll see body fat drop, you'll see skeletal muscle mass retained, and it's also education on that too. A lot of people out there believe the less we eat, the more we train, we're going to lose weight or fat faster. It's actually quite the opposite in a lot of circumstances. So this is what people get to see with this machine as well. So yeah, that's pretty much where it is. Visceral fat not changing that much. Obviously, if somebody comes in with bad diet, they can burn a fair bit of subcutaneous to start off with, but it does take time to chip away at that visceral fat.
And when you see the visceral fat really high, that's a problem for any individual, right?
100%. Yeah.
And if it's that high, people should go also get their bloods checked.
Yep.
And we can find that if they come in the gym and we see that, or any gym, or any, whether it's CrossFit or whatever it is, when they go in on that Evolt machine and it shows the visceral fat is really, really high, well, okay, you can change the diet, but you also, as owners of a business, we can say, just go get your bloods checked. Let's just see if everything's right.
100%.
So you can almost point out things to individuals before it gets worse.
Yeah, well, cholesterol checks, things like this, especially in men as we start to age, these things all spike through the roof. Another one is fatty liver. The amount of people I've scanned who have really high visceral fat readings, and they look at me and say, oh, I've actually got fatty liver, and things like this. So it kind of makes sense, it's experience over time. I'm using these as shown me just, the machine still blows me away to this day. Yeah.
What I love about the machine, it's non-intrusive. All you got to do is take your shoes and socks off.
Yep.
You jump on the machine and you go for it, right?
Yep.
A lot of places you got to fast for a certain amount of time. You got to wait in a waiting room. You've got to not eat for 24 hours. You got to take your top off. All that kind of stuff. When they were designing the Evolt machine, did they have all these things in mind? Did they want to do it that way?
When you think about all forms of different sort of body composition measuring, I mean, pinch fat is one of the oldest ones in the book. Who likes having their stuff grabbed?
Yeah.
You got to get down to your undies to get. Depending how many points you want to do, it becomes very intrusive and very uncomfortable, especially for females. There's other machines and other things out there that can measure in different ways as well. Water baths, you've got eggs you can sit in, and very uncomfortable. Once again, of course, we had that in mind. It's not intrusive. It's really easy to do. It doesn't take up much of your time, and obviously the results, what you get on the readout speak for themselves as far as the amount of information that comes from it too. So I haven't come across anything quite like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then you guys went a step further. You just wanted to bring the macros in there because you just wanted to make sure we not only want to give you a machine, but we want to help your guys, your team, your staff, being able to really track people's macros and really make sure that they're having enough food, because you don't want people to starve, right?
100%.
And you don't want them to do all these different fad diets, but you just want them to have real food, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big part of, I guess, you guys moving to that next phase and being able to help people and their teams where they work to be able to track the macros. What was the reasoning behind that?
nutrition is everything when it comes to body composition. If your nutrition isn't right, you can't expect the body composition results that you want to get. It's like fuel in a car. You know how far you're going to drive because of the amount of fuel you got in there, you know. But your body's the same; it needs fuel. So one thing we notice with a lot of apps out there and things that can give you macros and stuff like that is they usually undercut protein and other macros as well by quite a fair amount, and it's just due to the fact that they're using BMI. They're just using height and weight. Whereas we actually take your body composition result, we take your skeletal muscle mass, we take all those numbers on that sheet into account. We give you what we can get as close to as far as body type, goals, activity levels, things like this. There's a couple of questions that we ask, and then we give you, the closest guideline that we can to your body composition, and then from there it's back up to the personal trainers in the gym and the clients themselves to then try those macros out and then adjust them and tweak them to achieve better results.
It's funny, the other day I had one of the ladies that's done a few challenges, but she's come on and off, right? And she'd lost 7 kilos, but her visceral fat was still high and her body fat percentage was still high. And I can pretty much guarantee, after we had the chat outside, I can pretty much guarantee she wasn't doing much weights. She was doing more cardio, probably eating less than the amount that was probably in our booklet. And I was sitting down here with Orla and I was talking. I said, look, give Peter a call. And when I was having a chat to you out there, I knew exactly why some of the levels were off. And to be armed with that information is so powerful.
100%.
How important do you think it is to have that information and understand it and be able to read it as well?
Look, the thing is, education's everything. So once we understand how it works or how it measures, and once we understand what's on the result sheet in front of us, then asking the client themselves what they're doing and how they're doing it, and then adjusting that. And it's probably more important than having 20 treadmills in your gym. I mean, you can have as much cardio equipment, as much weights and things like this as you want, but if you've got no way of tracking it, how do you know if you're going in the right direction? And when it comes to things like not doing enough weights and things and stuff like this, there's nothing else that really helps retain or build skeletal muscle mass like resistance weight training. So that's lifting heavy things up and putting them down, essentially enough. So that's kind of what this machine can tell you.
Let's go back in time, right? Go back to the 60s and 70s. They were doing weights a lot, right? They were eating, the guys, and they looked great. Then you got all these fads that came in, and people go, okay, I'll do weights less and I'll do all these other things. What does doing weights less do to you?
If you're doing more, a long distance runner for instance, he's going to go and he's going to run marathons and stuff like that. He's going to burn skeletal muscle mass. He's going to drop weight. They're going to look thin. Some of them don't really look that. They actually look really frail. And then at the other end, you've got people in the middle who do a mixture of that, and they actually look really good. They look really fit. They've got skeletal muscle mass on them. So I've always been a firm believer of incorporating weights into absolutely anything that you do. I mean, if you don't incorporate resistance weight training into your exercise regime, if you're just doing high intensity workouts that are go, you're going to find that you're going to burn body fat, but you're going to burn muscle as well. So,
we were talking before about, obviously CrossFit and people doing a lot of these high intensity types of workouts and not doing enough weights. Not only do they lose muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass, but what happens to their visceral fat and their cortisol?
Sometimes, obviously, stress on the body under certain circumstances. If there's too much training going on, if nutrition's not on point, things like this, cortisol levels in the body relate to stress, which will spike. That hardens cells around the organs. It's not healthy for us. So that obviously correlates, or we're finding a strong correlation with that in the visceral fat. Or in that reading.
And you guys, when you talk about tech company, you guys would be studying so many different body types and seeing exactly what happens to them. Because if it's a medical device, you guys are doing everything possible to keep evolving and making sure, man, we want to be able to read everything.
100%. So what we've also done over that time frame as well is we continue to come across body types that we may struggle with, and when we get that body type, and we get it, you know. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, there's nothing in the world that's 100%, unless you actually cut a body into segments. So obviously, post-mortem is the only way that you can measure a body 100%. It's not moving anymore. It's, you can take it to pieces. But putting your body in the most measurable state, so rested, hydrated, no caffeine, things like this, and then that repeatability of having your body in that state too. Capturing people or capturing body types is everything. So we've done nothing but work consistently on that to get ourselves to a point now where we're confident with the product that we have. We always have been. So.
Off camera, before we were talking about the ketosis diet, and you're talking about one particular guy who was really going hard, and he was on this ketosis diet, and he started getting leaner, but you said he was really flat, and his body fat kept going up. Tell us a little bit about that story and what happens there, because I just want to give people context.
So what happened there was, it was more along the lines of, look at ketosis-based diets will work for certain people. And so will also different types of training. I guess it depends on the individual. So this is what makes everybody different too. But what was happening with this particular person was, as he was losing weight, he was burning body fat, but he was also dropping water and dropping muscle at the same time. Being ketosis-based diet too. When it comes to refeed days or carb up days and stuff, there just wasn't enough carbohydrates going back into the diet to replace glycogen stores and for his muscles to be able to hold water again. It wasn't until after he came off, you know, you set a goal for himself, he did it, which was amazing. It wasn't until after he came off and you know, carbohydrates went back into the diet that, you know, his body filled back out again, and his percentage as far as body fat changed, you know.
So he was more, like, judging by that particular guy, he was more towards having more carbs and more protein.
Yeah, so essentially what I saw was he should have been having more carbohydrates and protein and less of a ketosis-based diet. You know, before we talked about the intermittent fasting as well, and I want to just touch on each of these diets because I want to get your perspective as well. We're talking about the intermittent fasting, right? And that if you don't get it right, it can go very wrong for you as well. Yeah, 100%. Look, it will fall in line with most healthy eating or clean eating plans and stuff like that. And that is in essence, look, if you miss macros, or if you don't eat enough, or if you eat too much, you kind of walk in that fine line. I don't think there's anything wrong with intermittent fasting. I don't think there's anything wrong with ketosis-based diets, as long as you follow the protocols right. They may work for you. What you know, that might work for you. Might not work for me. So this is where, obviously, coming back to the professionals in the gym to ask them questions about this sort of stuff too, also pushes more clients back to you as well, and gets your members engaged and get some better results too.
What I find, and I've been doing it for 21 years, you know, being in the fitness industry, I find that those type of diets you can't stay on for long, right? I've never seen anyone stay on it forever, right? I've seen people stay on it for long periods, but not forever. It doesn't seem to me like it's a lifestyle diet.
Some people will say it is, and you look at usually it's the famous people. Look, it's like any diet, to be honest. There's going to be stages where, you know, for me, if I was to diet, it'd be you know, high protein, high carbs, low fats. But you know, I'm not going to stay on that forever. Of course, I'm going to go out there and get some ribs occasionally, or, you know what I mean. And I think having a healthy balance is essential to anybody's you know, body composition journey, I suppose.
And it's not to say those diets don't work.
No,
but you got, like you said before, you got to know when you have to have your refeed days within that. So you got to be able to measure it properly. You know what I mean? And I always say to people, what can you sustain for the longest periods of time? I go, that's probably the diet for you.
100%.
Because I go, if you can't sustain that, it's not going to work for you. And what you'll do is you're going to keep searching for different diets, and in that process, you're probably going to binge. You're going to probably do a few wrong things, and then you're going to go, nothing works, right? Do you see that happen a lot?
It happens with myself. I get myself into a diet, and then I get to a point, and I'm training, and everything's firing, and my metabolism speeds up, and I get hungry, and then I'll go out for burgers, you know. So look,
we're gonna have burgers after this. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, guys.
I've had 2 years.
Not
of
today.
2 years of burgers.
Yeah.
But look, it's one of those things. I mean, having that healthy balance, nutrition, training, lifestyle, I think is more important than anything, because it is about mental state too.
Yeah. You must see a lot of good stories coming out, because obviously you see a portal of amazing, transformations,
100%.
stories of people. What does that do for the brand? What does that do for you guys? Is it gratifying? Is it like, we're doing everything for the right reason?
Yeah, 100%. And it's something that I believe in, and I have done since I got involved with the company. And look, there's a guy out on a mine site recently who won a 12-week challenge.
Yeah.
And his body weight didn't change, but his body composition changed. And that's what gave him the best results, and that's why he won.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a weight loss challenge. It wasn't anything like that. It was based on numbers off the results. So that's gratifying.
That's the big fun.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about Ed.
Yeah, sure.
Because when obviously I've known Ed, and I've seen him for many, many years, and then when I seen him at the Sydney Fitness Expo, he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, no, great guy. And look, this is where...
And he's the CEO, right?
He's the CEO,
yeah.
So he's brainchild. This is brainchild. He's constantly thinking about... He never stops, mate. He never stops. Very nice man. I remember when we first got in contact with you, he was like, Matt, I know that name. It's just like, ask me if you went to, and that's how it all fell into place. But it's an amazing idea. Constantly, he's constantly coming up with new ideas. There's constantly new things that are coming out, and there's such a big, bright future for Evolt that I'm really pumped and excited to be a part of the company, and I can't wait to see where it goes. 100%.
Well, Pete, thanks for joining us. Just for our viewers and the people out there, we've got our next challenge starting next Monday. Is that right? Yeah. I'm always trying to get these numbers right. But we've also got 25% off, which ends today. There's a seminar tomorrow where we explain what's going to be in the challenge, but we're also going to explain all the new training you've done today.
Yeah, beautiful.
So it's going to be amazing. Like, you've got to get to the seminar for those that are doing the challenge, or for those that are thinking of doing the challenge. You got to get to the seminar, because I guarantee you, once you get to that seminar, guys, you will want to do this challenge, because some of the results that I got from the last challenge were absolutely unbelievable. But the stories that came from them, like the people's lives that we changed, the way they're fitting into their clothes. But not only that, it wasn't even individuals; it was families.
Yeah,
it was like bringing families together. There was a couple of brilliant stories from a couple of younger members, and one in particular, George, who I went to dinner with last night. This young kid didn't actually like training in gyms. He didn't like the environment. He never felt like he was part of something. Coming into this challenge, and me being in the boot camps and doing the seminars, it's really changed the way he feels about fitness. And this guy hated training, and it's the first time he's able to come to Tmam Fitness, or any gym for that matter, where every person at the desk knows his name, and he's just signed up for every challenge for the rest of the year, because he said the feeling he's getting from it and the confidence that it's giving him to be able to expose himself and to meet new people is massive. I had his mum the other day, and we had an interview. We were sitting here after the challenge had finished. The mum was almost in tears of what he was becoming. You know what I mean?
I think it's amazing for any young man to be able to come into an environment like this, like you've created here, Mets, because I walk into gyms all the time, and I walk into here, mate, and this place really excites me. I love what you got going on here, and it's when I first walked into a gym, I was that shy kid.
Yeah, because I remember that too, because that's what I was going to go back to. Imagine back in those days, right? So I took this young guy for dinner last night. Imagine back in those days when we were like 20, and the owner took us out. How would we feel?
I'd feel $1 million, man.
$1 million, and I thought about that, and when I took him and I go, this is cool. He's going to remember this for the rest of his life, but he's part of a family now. You know what I mean? And honestly, Pete, like every time I talk to you, and when I met Ed at the Sydney Fitness Expo, it feels like you guys are an extension of our family as well.
Thanks, man.
That's what I love about the industry, when we can meet like-minded people. We know all the boys from EHP Labs, you know what I mean? We know all the guys from Live Fitness. It's like, and you know, and you met Dale from Fitness on Demand.
Yeah,
it's
Dale.
like this big family in the fitness industry that's got tentacles everywhere in the world, really. And it's so good that we can all connect and get along. And I think that's what fitness is about. And the Evolt machines changed our business, and it's changed it again today. And the model we're going for now, which is, you know, serving people and having an impact on people's life. And I always say, you know, the greatest currency there is the effect you have on others. And I feel that about you guys at Evolt. And I'm just so glad to have you here today, mate. And I want to really appreciate it. Thanks again.
No problem.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.